Welcome to Housing for Good, a podcast dedicated to housing topics and issues affecting our communities in McPherson County and beyond. With years of experience and expertise, hosts Chris Goodson and Carolyn Moore discuss housing challenges and opportunities with other experts from a variety of housing fields.
Welcome to this week's episode of Housing for Good. I'm Chris.
And I'm Sherrie, filling in today.
For Carolyn. So I'm excited to see that we're having it. I miss Carolyn. I will say this. I miss Carolyn, but it's fun to see Sherrie here today filling in. So we'll just see how this goes. Yeah.
I miss Carolyn too.
I know, right? For a lot of reasons. So she'll have fun listening to this podcast and seeing. Yeah. Anyway, so first off, Sherrie, do you have any news for today? Anything to share or anything? So I found this really interesting article. It is the housing affordability crisis is going global. So it's actually in the, it's in the Wall Street Journal, and it's talking about the housing crisis in Dublin, Ireland. See, we all think in America that this problem is just our problem, but it's not. So they have a little bit of an example here. Mikey Cullen's parents were in their early 20s. They earned enough as a public sector working to buy a house in the city. Today, Cullen is a 27-year-old high school teacher who lives with his mother. So he had they said 7 roommates. And because he couldn't afford to do that anymore, he had to move home. 27 years old. I mean,
he couldn't afford it with 7 roommates.
He couldn't afford it with 7 roommates. So not only is this a local, a national, it is also an international problem of housing that's affecting everybody. So anyways, that's my news for today. I didn't have anything too exciting. I just thought, I just wanted to throw that little tidbit in there so people could see what is really happening, wherever you live, anywhere in the world. More than likely you're having a housing crisis. And it is getting worse and worse in different parts of Europe. So anyways, okay, so we have a guest today, and I'm going to let Sherrie introduce who that is, because I think you guys are kind of friends.
Yeah. I'm super excited to actually have Andi Amann here today with us. Andi, I've known for a few years now.
Oh, wow.
And she's currently working at CKF. So Andi came to talk to us a little bit about what she does and how that overlaps with housing.
So tell me what CKF stands for, first of all.
Central Kansas Foundation.
Okay.
It is, we offer inpatient and outpatient treatment services. We offer family services. We offer peer support services as well. And we also have a MAT clinic, medication-assisted treatment.
Wow, that's quite a bit of stuff. And that's located right here in McPherson. Where are you?
I'm located in McPherson. I'm located at our outpatient office here in McPherson. The MAT clinics and the inpatient is located in Salina, and we also have centers in Topeka as well.
Oh, that's a big organization. I had no idea.
Yeah. And there's also Bridge House in Salina, and there's also a Bridge House in Topeka that just opened that is a women's residential outpatient place where they can get their outpatient services and live there also as well.
Oh, that's amazing. So tell us why you're passionate about your job, what you do. What's
I'm a peer. I'm a peer mentor, recovery coach, and I'm also a recovering addict. I'm a recovering addict, alcoholic, and I'm 6.5 years clean and sober.
Oh, congratulations. That's awesome.
I work at a 12-step program, and that's why I'm passionate about it. I came back to McPherson after getting out of treatment and wondered where all the drug addicts were. I went to this meeting, and there wasn't hardly anybody there, and so there was a small group of us that came in kind of at the same time, and we all got together and just started building this community.
Oh,
that's recovering addicts need other recovering addicts. We need each other in order to grow and stay okay. And
so it's a support system where there's a lot of accountability.
Yes.
And you can jump in at any time, Sherrie. I know she doesn't want to interrupt, but just jump in and be part of this conversation so it's not, you don't feel like you're being left out of it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so that's really interesting, the way you talk about that. What are some of the housing challenges for people who are facing these addictions?
A lot of the housing challenges that I see for people in addiction or coming out of addiction, first off, is financial or criminal records, children, a lot of landlords, if they're running background checks, they're coming up against these criminal records and they won't rent to them.
So do you see that maybe, and maybe Sherrie has some more insight into this as well, people get a reputation, they know who you are, they call the other landlords, and then you're locked out?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I had that experience. Me and my ex-husband, the last house that we were in during our active addiction before we became homeless, we didn't leave that in a good state. We didn't leave it in a good state. We weren't in a good place. We weren't paying the bills. And that landlord was upset, rightfully so. Mm-hmm. Rightfully so. He had to put out a lot of money to clean the mess up that we left behind. So, yeah, word gets around.
What are some of the things that people struggling with addiction and they're working on their recovery and they're trying to move forward, but they're encountering these barriers? What are some of the things they can do when they're in that situation?
They need to look for their resources. They need to reach out to their community members. They need to find others that have had these barriers and gotten through them and gotten past them. And what did you do? How did you get past that? That's why community is so important. You know, you don't know how to reach a goal, so you go find the people who have reached that goal and gone on to next ones and ask them, how'd you do that?
How'd you do that? Yeah, that's really good. So let's say I'm in recovery and I'm 5 or 6 years sober, or I'm not sure the proper language, but I'm guessing that's what it is. And I've burnt all my bridges. What do I do?
It takes time. And you make sure that you're continuing to walk and make your decisions with great integrity and character and honesty and accountability. At some point, that gets noticed. You know, changing the way you were living and living better and more honest and with integrity and accountability gets noticed. People start to see it, but it takes some time.
I've noticed that there's not a lot of trust there. We were dealing with a situation, the Housing Coalition, not one of our clients, but another client that was affecting us. And I know, we were like, what is happening with this person? We knew they had a reputation. These things were happening. We're assuming that they're still doing some of that. I mean, what do you say to people like us? Are we wrong? Should we pay attention? Should we be more supportive? What is that?
You're not wrong. And the truth is I think all of us need to remember in situations like that is, you can't save them all. Mm-hmm. And working with nonprofits, working in the area of recovery and addiction, it's a risk. It's always a risk. There's always a risk, and a lot of times it's going to hurt more than it's going to be successful. But man, those successes are what get you through the ones that maybe aren't quite successful.
So do you have a story for us, a really cool story of somebody that's been a success? Obviously, you're not going to use names, but somebody
a success with the McPherson Housing Coalition?
No, or I
was like, I sure do.
Or, us, or just somebody who was in addiction who found their way forward and now they're stable and they're doing well.
Oh, yeah, there's tons of us out there.
Well, tell us.
They're all over.
Tell us a story of somebody can you think of a story off the top of your head of a person who was struggling and then they went through maybe your program and now they're stably housed. What does that look like?
Absolutely. My best friend. Absolutely. She came off the streets, criminal record, years and years of addiction and trauma, and came into recovery. Started working the program. She was also in another transitional housing program at first when she came in. Started working, connected. We all connected. We just kept connecting with other people, and we built, we built our own resources and we built our own community, and we just kind of stayed with that and just watched it grow. And it's a ladder situation. You come in. You get clean, whatever that looks like for you, however that looks like for you, and you get stable in the program that you're in, and then you get a job, get a little more stable, get a better job, get a little more stable. I think she was 3 years clean and purchased her own home.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What a great story.
So Andi's being humble here, but I know that there was a gap in the recovery community in this town a long time ago. And instead of saying, hey, it's not here, Andi and a few others worked really hard to build it. And so when people come to our community or are from our community and are struggling with addiction, there is support systems there.
Yeah.
There is a place. And that is some ground and some space that Andi fought to claim and make for our community. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, when I first came back, no one saw us. No one saw us.
And why is that, do you think? Were you hidden? I mean, I know
Out
a lot
of sight,
of the...
out of mind.
Yeah, a lot of the...
You don't want to look at the dirty areas unless you're willing to get in there and help clean it up.
Yeah.
And so people just didn't want to see that about their community. They didn't want to see that we had a homelessness problem in this town, or that we had an addiction problem in this town. And we did, because I was part of it. Like, you can't deny me my knowledge of that, because I was in it. I was there.
Right.
And so we came back, and like Sherrie said, we started building this community. You know, we recover out loud and on purpose, and we do it loudly so that other people can find us.
So did you connect with the organizations? Because I know there are some meetings here already. There has been for years some places that people could meet that have some addiction issues that are trying to recover, or they're just in it.
Yes, there's 12-step recovery here in McPherson. There's Celebrate Recovery here in McPherson. There's all different kinds of recovery programs that you can practice in. There's Smart Recovery. It's all over. And thanks to the internet, you can find those anywhere now.
Yeah. But what you're talking about, maybe it sounds like it might be a little different than that, or you just expanded on what was here. I'm just trying to understand for myself and the audience what you mean by...
You know, we come in to recovery, and you're pretty alone. You're pretty alone. You've been pretty alone. And we like to tell people when they come in, you need to lean into your people. Well, who are my people? Look around. Those are your people. You've already earned your spot there. Like, they were waiting for you the whole time.
Oh, that's...
And so then we started coming to these tables, you know, because of the way we interacted with our community, because of the way we began to interact with our police department, with the community foundation, with corrections, with judges, the district attorney's office. They started bringing us to tables to start bridging the gaps that were there between our community and people addicted or homeless. And now people see.
Yeah.
They don't just see it, you know, especially the community foundation and your organization. You don't just see it. Now you are down in there. You are down in there with us, helping to bridge those gaps and bring resources to these people and
there's nothing,
make our community closer.
Nothing more heartwarming than when somebody's in recovery and we help them get their children back, because housing is always the last step, typically, from what we understand.
Yes.
You've got to have permanent housing, and for us to be able to house somebody and then see that reunification when the person is healthy, then it's wonderful.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and
it really
so
is.
we've had that, and it's extremely heartwarming for us when we're able to be a part of that.
Yeah, those successes are what drive you through the ones that aren't successful.
So
yet. Everyone's failure is just a yet.
Yeah,
Just haven't succeeded yet.
Do you feel like we're still missing? Is there supports that aren't out there still for people that are struggling, or people that are in recovery, or people that are, you know, part of the community or not part of the community? What else are we not? What are we missing?
I think a lot of the struggle that's out there today is just fear. It's fear. You know, some private businesses don't want to hire felons because they did before and something bad happened, and so, you know, they've been burnt and they're afraid to extend that hand again. It's fear. Fear is, I think, a lot of what keeps the gaps going, and financial reasons. Yeah, everything takes money today.
So if you had $1 million, what would you do with it to help your community, do you think?
Oh, I'd put it right back into it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You have
Let's go build some long-term homes. Let's get those electric bills paid for a year. Let's get, you know, the gas bill paid for a year. If they've got a car, let's pay their car insurance for a year.
So like common sense, easy things, very common, nothing extravagant or anything over the top, just basic needs that people would need to be able to survive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that...
Let's get them some finance classes.
If a person is lacking affordable housing, that makes the addiction worse? I mean, is that a part of that?
It can, because it can put you in a space of hopelessness. And so, hopelessness puts you in a lot of other places that can cause you to go back out or cause you to stay where you're at. If I can't see a light at the end of the tunnel, then why am I working to get out of this tunnel? Why don't I just make myself comfortable right where I'm at?
And the isolation, the lack of options, the community support. So if a person is struggling with addiction, who they currently have as their support system is a lot different than a person strong in their recovery and who they have as their support system.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we all want some place to go and sleep at night.
Yeah. Somewhere safe to go and sleep at night.
So, okay, so this things pop into my brain as we're talking. That's why I told you this paper over here. I try to follow it, but it's like this script doesn't really work for me well.
Okay.
But if you're, the tiny home community that we have, the Oak Harbor Cottages and now the Sutherland Estates, would you say that there could be a need potentially for a community for people who are in recovery? Besides what we already have, where they're independent, they live in their own homes, where they could have a community space, maybe a building, and they would have all these houses around it with one or two or families or whatever that is. Is that something that you could see for McPherson?
I'll tell you what. There's a few of our people currently rising through the ranks at Oxford that we're talking about that. We're having ideas around that. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, because I know that's what we do. That the reason that we've done our village, because they're villages, what we build, is eventually you hope that you're building a place where people see they're not alone, they're not isolated, and there's support. They have Sherrie as the case manager who they can go to and say, hey, I'm struggling with this or that. Can you help me through that?
Yeah.
I mean, I could totally see where this could be a really cool community somewhere within McPherson County, wherever that would be, and to be able to have a place that you'd be able to have people live in a great place.
And the last 3 or 4 years, the resources that have opened up, especially from you guys, when those resources started popping up, the one big problem with it was that all these resources were coming up, but they were being offered in the wrong order. And so you guys were actually one of the first resources to come in and ask, how can we help you? And did that. Did it in the way that it was said, this is what we need the most and this is how we need it. And you paid attention to that. A lot of people were offering resources in the incorrect order, or the resource was hard to maneuver through. You get somebody fresh out of active addiction or homelessness, I did not have the mental capacity to be able to handle a frustrating application for anything. Yeah. A bunch of different meetings and this and that, and I couldn't do it. I did not have the mental capacity to be able to handle that. And so to have somebody like Sherrie who comes in with you guys and says, okay, this is what's required, let me help you go through this. Yeah. And goes through the paperwork with them and sits with them. And that is a major thing. That is a calming effect.
That's really good to know. I know today I was talking to somebody and they said, what you guys are doing in McPherson needs to be out there on a national and international level, because it really does walk people through the process. Yeah. There's nothing worse than building a bunch of affordable housing and then throwing people in there and then saying, good luck, I hope it works for you. Goodness, yes. I hope you don't go back to your addiction. I hope you can figure out how to keep that job. I hope you can do all these things. It's not going to work. You have to walk them through the process. There has to be accountability. That's huge with us.
Absolutely. There's
accountability. And I think sometimes
that has to be taught. I didn't know how to be accountable. Yes. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know what that was. You said accountability to me. That meant that, in the beginning, in my head, that sounded like you tell me what to do and I decide if I want to do it. I probably don't,
I love your honesty.
I probably don't want to.
But don't want to do it.
So yes, there's got to be some accountability and wraparound services. There's got to be wraparound services. Yeah. Follow through and wraparound services, because, especially in the beginning, you're going to tell me I have an appointment with this, or I need to make sure I don't miss that, but I've got all this other stuff going on in my brain and I'm going to forget about that. Or, how do I get there? I don't know how to get there. Well, now there's this one thing that I've decided is going to keep me from doing that, so now I'm just going to give up.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. You talked about order, and I think that's really interesting, because that's something that I work with folks on, of Like, okay, we have 90 days. We're going to move through this process.
Yeah.
Here, what are the things you think we need to do to be stable in 90 days, which already is a tall order, right? So we just name that. I know it's hard right now. But when you talk about order, what are some of the things you're thinking about, particularly when thinking of folks struggling with addiction?
Well, and so in the beginning, when I first came back out of treatment, these resources were being offered that, like, oh, we've got these educational resources. Great, I don't have anywhere to live, but you want me to go to school. Like, what?
It sounds ridiculous to us now, doesn't it?
But it was a real thing.
Yeah.
That was a real thing. That was a real thing happening right before you guys started the tiny homes. Oh, we want you to enroll in this or in that. Well, I'm living in a hotel. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
We're going to give you a computer. I don't know how to get on the internet. What are you talking about? You need to go get a bank account because you need to be able to pay these bills. I've never done that.
So there's no support along with all these things they want you to do without housing has to come first.
Yes.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a housing first out there.
That used to make me so mad. People be like, oh, they're going to put me in all these programs. And I'm like, well, where are you going to do all
Where
that?
are you going to live?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If you're not safe and secure, I'm not worrying about school. I'm not worrying about a bank account.
Right.
Like, if I can't feed myself.
You need the basic necessities before you can move forward.
Yeah,
And
basic needs.
That's
and
for
then
anybody.
Then we work into the other things.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, how about mental health? That's just started to become a thing finally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love it that she named it because I've never had anybody name it before. So I love that. I mean, we could always use that. We're going to steal it. I just want to make that.
Go right ahead.
But I love how you named it. It's right. You need housing. You need basic services. You need food and utilities and the basic stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have a car? Can you even get where all these crazy places? You don't know how to get on the internet. You don't know how to navigate all this. And that's what Sherrie does fantastically.
She does.
Well,
She helps you.
The first thing we do is, I understand you need to eat.
Yeah.
You probably need to, like, it's been a cold winter. You need to warm up. In the summer, they need to cool down.
Yeah.
Eat, sleep, shower, get your temperature regulated.
Yeah.
Go into your space that's there at the cottages. Know that you're safe.
Start coming
and
out of survival mode.
I try to meet them within 3 days after they come in to start moving forward. I try to meet them the next day, but first, people just need to eat, shower, and sleep.
Yeah.
And safety, when you mentioned
and
safety.
be safe.
I've never been homeless on the street before, but I can imagine that there'd be a lot of things going through your brain. Can you speak to that a little bit?
For 2 years. Yeah.
And what was that? Give somebody an idea of what that was like on a day. Just a day.
It is a constant, it is, your body is constantly in fight or flight and fear. Constantly. All three things all at once. Depending on where I woke up, well, first off, I was homeless and in active addiction. So, I can't speak on what my day went through.
Because you don't know.
No, I know.
Oh, okay.
But, I was not only did I have to find somewhere to be for the day where the police weren't going to run me off or some community member wasn't going to be mad that I was there. I had to get my drugs. I had to have somewhere to do my drugs. And then I had to have somewhere by nightfall, I had to have somewhere to lay my head down. And some of the times it wasn't... most of the time, it wasn't anywhere that you would have want one of your children to be.
So there are pockets around even our small community where people are that are homeless outside?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I think
or you're couch surfing or, we got a lot of public bathrooms in this town.
Yes, we do.
I spent a lot of time in those. We have 2 particular public bathrooms that have heaters in them. Those saved my life over one winter.
So you have to know where those are.
Yep. And you learn pretty quick.
Yeah.
You learn pretty quick where you should be, where you shouldn't be, where you can go during this time of day, but don't go during this time of day. It's just you're constantly on the move. You're constantly looking for something, and there's no safety ever. And I'm still like this today. If I'm not safe at my core, nothing else matters. Nothing. My job doesn't matter. My kids don't matter. I do not have a thought process outside of I'm not safe. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And now I'm panicking Now the survival mode kicks in.
And now we can't think.
And now I can't
process.
figure out anything. I can't figure out my next move.
So would you say that there's some PTSD involved with this a little bit that really makes it very difficult for somebody? Because I know you
Most of the time.
you hear stories about people who've been living outside for long periods of time, especially in the States where it's warmer and you can get away with it. Here it's a little harder because you're going to freeze to death. But what is that like then if you've been living outside? You know, sometimes they try to put people in little homes somewhere and just kind of do whatever, and then they don't do well. Is that connected somehow with, how is that?
I don't think that's anything that's happened here.
Okay.
I hear of that happening a lot in Wichita.
Okay.
Or the bigger cities. That was never a thing here, I don't believe, at least not from my experience. No one was opening their doors to us.
Well, you know, they were saying
On
in
purpose.
Wichita, there was like, they were going around getting people who were living in encampments and trying to get them somewhere inside, and they wouldn't go. They would rather be outside and freeze than go to a shelter.
Because that's their home.
That's what I'm asking. Is so that is where they feel safe.
Well, that's they get used to that. You know, a lot of people, especially people with my background, we don't like change. I don't like change because change is uncertain. But you have me growing up in a hard environment. You know, I spent years as an adult in a hard environment due to my own making, and I can navigate that.
But that uncertainty is really unsafe.
I can navigate my bad dilemma. I can navigate these streets. I can navigate that I haven't been able to eat in a couple days. You know, I can navigate that environment because I know it. But now you want me to do something different that I've never done before, but it might help me. You can't promise me. You can't show me how it's going to help me, but you say that I'll be better off for it. How do you know? Because I don't trust you. I don't know you, but I know where I'm at. I know what's coming around that corner. I know what's around that zig and that zag, and I don't know uncertainty. Uncertainty is scary because what if it's worse than where I'm at? At least where I'm at, I know it.
So this is just off the thing here, but if I'm in Wichita and I'm part of that homeless outreach program and I'm finding somebody that is homeless, trying to encourage them to come in because it's going to be minus 20 or whatever, what advice would you have? Would you say go build a relationship with that community and then invite them in? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing that a lot in Wyandotte County. Absolutely. Their peer service in Wyandotte County is doing that. It goes out to their homeless camps, and they're bringing them socks, food, water, and they just sit with them. They have conversations. Oh, you know, you've not been feeling well lately. Can I take you to the clinic? I'll bring you right back. You know, a lot of the trouble with asking a homeless person to leave where they've been camped out, especially for an extended period of time, is who's going to take my spot when I'm gone? Then I'm not going to have anywhere to go. What about when you want me to leave that nice warm shelter? Now I don't have anywhere to be. I don't have anywhere to put my stuff.
Oh, that's really good. So what else? Can you tell us a little bit about CKC, some of the programs? I know we talked about it a little bit.
CKF?
CKFC, I don't even have the right name. Sorry about that. Yes. Tell me a little bit more about that. Is there more information that we should be sending to our listeners about what they're doing there, and maybe that's something they'd be interested in? Or maybe I know somebody who needs assistance and they refuse to get it. What does that look like?
Well, if somebody's refusing to get assistance, there's really nothing you can do about that.
Nothing.
There's really not.
Really. But what about, so, you know, on TV, okay, no, this is
Do you offer Narcan for people?
Oh, we do. Absolutely.
Who are still
Listen,
struggling?
you need Narcan, you call me. I'm your girl. I got
Okay.
you.
That's good.
So CKF is an addiction they are addiction treatment services. We have inpatient services where people go in and they stay in the facility and they get drug addiction services.
Okay.
We have MAT Clinic, which is medically assisted treatment, where they can enter into a program to get Suboxone, Vivitrol. Those are short-term tapers to help you with withdrawals, to help you be able to be more successful in your long-term treatment. We have Bridge House, Topeka, and Salina, and that is a residential outpatient service. I think it's women. I think they're women's houses. And so they get to live there. It's like, it's sober living, but they also have to participate in a program. They have to participate in outpatient. They have to participate in peer services. They get help with employment. They get help with learning how to handle finances, and then it's easier to get mental health services as well when you're living there too, because they encourage that. They want the whole package to help.
So that sounds like a great resource. Is there a contact information you can give us? Do you have that?
You just call CKF.
You have that number? Okay. Apparently,
I don't have it. I can look it up. That's fine.
Yeah, we always like to. We always like to.
Yeah,
give somebody that.
You can call the McPherson office. You can call the Salina office. And the great thing is you can call the CKF number and you can ask, hey, can you? I need to talk to somebody at Bridge House.
Okay.
And they'll transfer you over.
Okay.
I need to talk to Bridge House in Topeka. They'll transfer you over. I need McPherson. They'll send you to my office. I need inpatient. They'll send you over there. We have a whole clerical staff.
Does it need to be the person who is struggling, or can it be a family member that says, hey, I have this person who's struggling, and I think I've talked them to going into some type of therapy or something, counseling or inpatient or whatever that looks like? Or do you think does it have to be the person who's in addiction and they're finally ready?
Anybody can call. We get calls all the time, hey, this is what's going on. What do you suggest? What does it look like? My son came to me. He's decided that he maybe wants to get some help. What do we need to do? What's the next step? Usually people go to inpatient and then they graduate that and they get put in outpatient services. And then while they're in outpatient services, they'll usually be assigned a peer for individual sessions. Or when they've graduated the outpatient, they'll go to level 1 and they'll come to me. And they'll come to me and come to groups, and we'll do individual sessions. As peer services, we also kind of provide some wraparound services. We are the ones that they call when they need resources in wherever they're located. And we can do a lot of our groups. All of our groups you're able to do them by Zoom if you live in another town where you can't get to Salina or McPherson or Topeka.
Which I love. I love Zoom. When it first came out, I was like, I'm not using that.
Me too.
I don't like it. It's freaking me out. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And now it's like, turn it on. I love it.
It's a wonderful tool when you don't have to drive for hours for a meeting.
I love it. So I did find their phone number, by the way.
And I have the McPherson phone number as well.
Go ahead and tell them what it is.
So the office in McPherson, you can reach at 620-241-5550. And we're located at 208 South Main here in McPherson.
Okay, that's awesome. So, Andi, what else do you have to tell us? Is there anything else that we didn't ask you, or anything, questions, or things you'd like to see, or what are we missing? Just anything that you can think of that maybe just to wrap it up for us, that your last words.
Man, I'm just really, really, really proud of this community. I am proud of this community. I am proud of all the different classes that are coming together, coming to the table, trying to bridge the gap. Just because you have a history, or even if you are currently lost in active addiction, you are not a bad person. You're not a bad person. You still matter.
I think people really need to hear they matter.
Yeah, you still matter. People still love you. You still deserve to be cared about and thought of and helped. And as long as an addict still draws breath, there is hope. There is hope that they can get better. And we get them better by making our environments better and by making our resources better.
I love it. That was awesome. So thank you, Andi, for joining us today. That was a great interview. And thank you, Sherrie, for being my co-host today. This was really fun. If you would be interested or know someone who would be interested in being on Housing for Good, please drop us a line or leave us a review for Housing for Good at McPhersonHC.org. Thank you for listening to Housing for Good, and have a great day.